Hey everyone, and welcome back to Developer Soapbox. Today I'm going to run you through the basics of connecting to a SQLite database using .NET Core. This should work with any version. I've tried this with, starting with SDK version 1, and now we're on SDK version 3.1, and it still works. The only thing you might need to do is update your dependencies. So to start off, here's what we're going to need. So again, we'll need .NET Core SDK and a text editor. For me, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code with the C# extension. This is highly recommended. If you don't have a text editor, I highly recommend you try out Visual Studio Code. But if you do have a preferred editor, that should work fine as well. As far as the structure of our program, we're going to set the dependencies needed for the program. We'll create a connection, create a table, insert some records into this table, and then read the records and output them into the console. Let's first create our app, and I'm just going to go into View and Terminal to open up a terminal within the editor. And I'm going to cd into my Documents folder. That's where I'll create the project. And I'm just going to do .NET New to create a new project. I'll make this a console app, so it's console -o, and this is to create the directory, and I'm just going to call this SQLite app and hit enter, and it'll create the project for you. Once the project is created, let's go ahead and open the folder of the project. So there it is, just select folder, and once you have the folder open, just go into the .cs project file, and this is where we're going to specify our dependencies. And I am going to cheat here, and I'm just going to paste the code to save you guys some time. And we just need a single dependency. So this is basically the SQLite connection provider for .NET Core, right? So it's Microsoft Entity Framework SQLite is the include, and the version that I'm going to be using is 3.1.0. Once we have our dependency, let's go back into our terminal. So View and Terminal, and then just do .NET Restore, and this is going to load your dependencies. Once your dependency is loaded, let's go into our files and open up program.cs, and let's go ahead and start typing up our program. At first, your initial program is going to look something like this. So whenever you do .NET New, it creates from a general template, it creates something like this for you. So inside of your main method, let's go ahead and start typing what we're going to do. And I've actually copied from our initial slide, right? So this is what we're going to do. So we can go ahead and follow this general template. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do an include here. So using and include our SQLite provider that we've added as a dependency. Once you do that, go ahead and save. Okay, let's go ahead and start with a connection. So to create a connection, let's first create a connection string builder. So I'll call this connection string builder. Goes with new SQLite string, there we go, connection string builder. Once we have that, we can, let's go ahead and set our data source for our string builder. And we're just going to set it to a database name, which is going to be your SQLite database file. And you can put this anywhere. I'm just going to put this on the same directory that my project is in. So let's go ahead and do connection string builder. And the data source property is going to be, again, the same directory, and I'll just call this mydb.db. Now that we have our connection string builder, which basically just builds the connection string, let's go ahead and build the actual connection. So to build the connection, I'm just going to do a connection variable. This is going to be a new SQLite connection, the first one right there. And it takes as an argument the connection string builder connection string. So connection string builder connection string. Okay, now we could just declare this as is, but we're going to be smart and do a using. Surround this as a using, so using parentheses, and close the parentheses here, and then open open brackets. And what using is going to do for us is essentially close this connection once we're done using it without us having to explicitly specify it. Let's open our connection by using connection open. And once we have an open connection, let's go ahead and create our table. So to execute commands, we're going to use essentially it's a method of connection called create command, and that creates the actual command, and then you can execute the command. Okay, so let's create a create table command. So I'll just call this table command is equal to connection create command. There it is. And once you have the command created, you can set the command text, which is your SQL statement. So command text is equal to, let's create table, and what we're going to be doing here is creating a table that holds our favorite beers, right? So I'm just going to do favorite beers, and I'm just going to have a single column that's the name of the beer, and it's going to be a varchar 50. And once you have a command text for your command, you can execute it by doing execute. And because it's a non-query, meaning it's not returning any results, that's what we're going to select, execute non-query. And I actually got a bit ahead of myself here, so this is the create table. I'll just move this up here. And then next up, let's insert some records and then read said records. Okay, to insert records, it's essentially the same thing. We're gonna create a command and essentially same thing, create set the command text and then execute non-query. The difference here is that we do need a transaction to basically bundle or commit, right? So here I'm gonna use using again. So I'll do a transaction, and this is a method of connection, so it's begin transaction. And again, we're doing using, so it closes up the transaction object after we're done with it without us having to explicitly do that. So in this time it's going to be an insert command, and very similar, it's just connection create command. And let's set the text for this command, and let's just do insert into favorite beers and values. Let's do Lagunitas. That's a good one. And then do essentially the same. It's a non-query, right? So we do execute non-query, and I'll just copy this a couple more times so we don't have to retype the entire thing. Oh, and we don't need that one since we already have the actual command created. You can basically change the command text each time, right? So let's do. I'll do highlight, and if you're from Florida, you're probably familiar with highlight. It's amazing as well. And last one, I'll keep it simple. I'll do Stella. Okay, so that will insert our records. The last thing we need is an actual commit for the transaction. So I'll do transaction.commit, and that's going to commit our records. And lastly, let's go ahead and read the records. Just like the others, we're going to create another command, and this time it's going to be a select command. So let's do select command is connection create command, and the command text, just like the others, we're just going to set the command text, and this time we're just going to do a select all from favorite beers. Okay, and then what we need to do now is execute the command and then iterate through the results. So we're going to do a using again, and we're going to use a reader is select command and execute reader. And this will basically return a reader. If you're familiar with like a cursor, you know, with other database types, that's very close. It's a very close concept. Just returns kind of an object that you can iterate through. And then once we have that, let's go ahead and iterate through it by using reader dot while there's something to read. Let's set our result equal to reader get string. And now this sets the or which column you want to read from. In this case, we only have one column. It is 0 index, where the starting index is 0. So I'm just going to do get string of 0. And that's, again, 0 is my 0th column, which is the name of the beer. Once we do that, we can do console.writeLine, and let's just do the result to print that out. And that should be it, my friends. Let's go ahead and go to View, Terminal, and let's go ahead and run this app. So .NET run. And there we go. So you can see that it prints out our results to the screen. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, I highly recommend you do subscribe. I've been releasing material on a pretty regular basis now. So if you'd like to get notified when my videos come out, please do subscribe. And I will put all of this, all of the instructions on my blog, developersoapbox.com. And the link should be in the description down below. Thank you very much.